So, so first is this. So let's be candid. You're a sponsor. You have 50 investors who invested $100,000 each. The truth is, right now, you are responsible for making sure that all of them get the right number of dollars.
Right.
And let's be candid, there have been cases in our industry where people didn't get exactly what they were supposed to get, many times because it was an innocent mistake, right? But now what you're doing is you're paying a company that gets paid a subscription annual fee. Bricken is paying a company, Sam's paying a company whose job it is to make sure that if there's $1,000 of rent profits, it gets divided equally. Sam can never increase the tokens. Sam can't say, oh yeah, my property was supposed to be 1,000 tokens and now it's worth 2,000. You can't do that because you signed a contract with a third party organization saying there can only be 1,000 tokens for this property, right? That number can never become 1,001. So you've actually added a intermediary who wants to become a public company someday. That's actually going to prevent you from making those kinds of mistakes. So all Sam does is that each month, at the end of the month, just right now, Sam is sending checks to individual bank accounts of those 50 investors. Let's say in the future you tokenize and now there's 5,000 people that are holding the tokens. Well, your job actually gets easier, Sam, because what you're going to do is when you initially built the offering, you built a cap table on this third-party token vendor's website. And because that cap table is now built, in the future, any kind of transactions that occur on any site on the web, not just their website, but any site on the web. Remember, the blockchain is universal. So even if some other website were to transact the coin, they would still know that now X doesn't own this token, Y does it, and the money will still get to Y. You will simply upload the profits at the end of the month to the portal and say, this is the total amount of profit for these blockchain investors. And then the portal and the cap table sends the money out and it sends it to the wallets. It tracks their wallets. You're not responsible for any of that. This is less work than you're doing today, not more. But there's a downside to this, right? This commoditizes things. And let me explain this. How many conversations do you think Jeff Bezos has with his individual investors buying one Amazon stock? It's commodity. There is no value of interpersonal relationships. So that's the bad side of tokenization. The commoditization is not all good. It's also bad. I can tell you that, let's assume today there's 10,000 syndicators in the US. Mm-hmm. My prediction is 10 years from now, there'll be 100. Wow. Because the ones that can scale the most are the ones that will grow. Because as everyone starts to do this, people are not going to want to work with 10 individual syndicators. They will want to work with larger companies that control portals that have tens of billions of dollars in transaction because there's higher liquidity. They can sell their token in a second for significant value. So there's bad news that in 10 years, Sam either has to become one of those 100 or go find something else to do. And from the perspective of the investor, also there's good and bad news. Everything that they do in real estate in 10 years will be 100% liquid. But the PE ratios that real estate has right now are much nicer, much better. You're getting more for your money. Well, in 10 years, property is stock. So why would the PE ratios be any different? Right now, stocks don't return much. You're just hoping on the appreciation. Well, 10 years from now, unfortunately, everyone will just be living on appreciation. Please be extremely careful. Now that I've told you the names of some of these companies, be extremely careful not to buy tokens from anywhere except their websites yet. Because what's happening is the different vendors are not talking. Recently, one of these vendors, I'm not going to name who, basically somebody sold a bunch of tokens on another third-party website posing as them. These tokens were worthless. They didn't have the right numbers, but people bought them all the same because they felt like that vendor was actually selling the tokens. So this is the first inning. The vendors are still working out how stuff can be listed. So for now, when you're buying tokens, it's best to buy from the source. Don't go to T0 and buy tokens for Bricken Investment Group, because Bricken Investment Group may not have posted the tokens there. Right. So it's not as safe or as secure as stocks just yet. It took a while for stocks, for companies to communicate with each other. It's going to take a while there. I'm not saying buying tokens is a bad idea. I'm sure it's a good idea. Just buy from the source right now.